All right, greetings. Hopefully everyone is doing great. Happy Sunday. We are into, I guess, a week ago we started free agency, and there are not many players left on the board. Certainly Sadiq Bey and Tyus Jones and Isaac Okoro, to name a few. Kyle Lowry is also another player here, but we saw quite a bit of action on Saturday the 6th. That was expected, especially with the moratorium being lifted noon. We saw a lot of the signings that were reported. We've seen a lot of the contracts that have been signed that have kind of come through. We saw DeMar DeRozan sign and trade around 11 o'clock last night. That's something that's been working in the works for about probably the last 4 or 5 days here. We'll talk a little bit about that. I think certainly the biggest one, and when he agreed to resign with the Lakers, Woj had reported that there was a thought about taking less. He did take less, LeBron James, $3 million total. Really, and essentially, it's really $1 million, I would say, for this year, and $2 million for next year. And I could see him opting out of his contract for next year and recouping what he gave back. I do find it funny that when we reported that he had given back roughly $3 million, everyone was like, "What? That's it? Why wouldn't he give back more?" And you're thinking, well, why should he give back more? They got under the second apron, and that was the goal, and there's no quality free agents left on the board here. He could have given back $2 million or $4 million. It really wouldn't have given them as much flexibility as they probably would hope for. But they are under the second apron by $45,000. What does that mean? So let's say the Lakers don't make another transaction for the rest of the year. Their 2032nd pick does not become frozen. We put up on X. We put up a chart. The implications: if you finished the regular season over the second apron, you will not be allowed to trade that pick. That's important to know. So the Lakers go under by 45,000. Remember, any trades post transactional salaries that exceed the second apron. So as we've said, D'Angelo Russell traded for a $20 million or $21 million player, for example, does not work. You can still aggregate contracts. You just can't exceed that second apron threshold, which is at certainly 180. I should know this. My goodness gracious. 188.9. I got stuck on that for a minute there. I should know that by heart. 188.9. So the Lakers go under the second apron. LeBron takes less. And I hate to say this if you're a Laker fan, I don't see them as being active or more active or less active, I guess whatever we want to say about them. Just based on if 2029 and 2031, if those two picks are in play, certainly I think you can move off the Russell contract, but are you upgrading your roster by just moving off the Russell contract unless you just want flexibility? The other thing, too, is there's no more teams really with room. Utah's got some room left. I think the Markkanen renegotiation, that's a possibility there. Detroit has a little bit of room left. There's some teams with big trade exceptions. Atlanta and Brooklyn created $23 and $25 million trade exceptions. There's not really a dumping ground if you wanted to get off salary here. Charlotte yesterday went through a series of transactions, and they basically did everything they got under the salary cap by $17,000, which is remarkable. We saw certainly the Devontae Graham signing. He had trade $2.8 million. So that sets up with San Antonio. We're going to talk about them in a minute. He had $2.85 million. We saw Bertans get waived. There was a series of transactions that Charlotte had to follow. And eventually they were able to use that Miles Bridges $15 million cap hold, get to the cap, re-sign Bridges. They exceed the cap. And that's a little bit of Charlotte there as far as the cap mechanics as far as for them. 3 years, $75 million for Bridges. I've not seen his contract yet. There are reported no options in it. It's a straight 3 for $75. That's it for Miles Bridges. We saw a lot of trades finally get finalized. I think people are wondering why did Washington have to rope in New Orleans with the Valanciunas sign and trade? It allows the Wizards to preserve their $12.8 million non-tax mid-level exception. New Orleans creates a $9.9 million trade exception that perhaps maybe a center becomes available that they can go out and do. We saw the whopper of whoppers as far as the 16 6-team trade between Charlotte, Dallas, Denver, Golden State, Minnesota, Philadelphia. The first time I've ever seen a 6-team trade. We're not going to go into full details, but essentially Klay Thompson goes to Dallas, Buddy Hield and Kyle Anderson go to Golden State. Warriors are right below that first apron threshold, like 780,000, somewhere around there. It was all that trade started basically. I think the night of the draft. That's when that all kind of came together here. So Klay goes to Dallas. We thought maybe he was going to go into a trade exception, or the trade exception was going to be created in Golden State, but essentially Hield and Kyle Anderson go to Golden State. We're not going to go into the whole semantics of everything there. When you look at the Sacramento, Chicago, San Antonio 3-teamer that happened late, that's going to happen hopefully Sunday. The question was, how much was Sacramento going to have to give up? How much was the cost of DeRozan going to be? Were they comfortable going into the luxury tax? Were they comfortable guaranteeing portion of that third year? So here's why. The third year matters because that is when De'Aaron Fox and Keegan Murray's extensions would kick in if both signed extensions. The luxury tax, I'm a little more off the luxury tax than maybe some other people are. I think the second apron is the new luxury tax. I think this year it's worth going into the luxury tax if you're going to put a really good team together. Sacramento has a chance to going into the luxury tax because of the Domantas Sabonis All-Star bonuses, and now a bonus for DeMar DeRozan, 670,000 around there, and then they also have bonuses for Trey Lyles. Once they fill out that roster, and if Sabonis ever hits that bonus, they go into the tax, and then they have to figure out how to get out. Fortunately, it's only about a $5 to $6 million distribution that teams are getting back, unlike this year at $12 million. The other thing was, how much was Sacramento willing to guarantee in that third year? Roughly $10 million. It's an aggressive move by Sacramento. They gave a pick swap in 2030. Harrison Barnes goes there. I'm interested to see how San Antonio kind of handles their finances. Barnes had a $3.5 million trade bonus, 10% bonus. Sacramento has to pay that. How are they going to get enough money to sign Chris Paul, roughly $11 million, because they're about $2 to $3 million short there. So certainly keep an eye on San Antonio as far as some moves to make. Chicago gets a good player in Chris Duarte. They create a big trade exception. They get a couple seconds, $17.6 million trade exception. Chicago is kind of an innocent bystander who helped DeMar DeRozan get to Sacramento, because if they didn't help him, he was basically staring at the $12.8 million non-tax MLE. So certainly an aggressive move for, I'm just looking at some of these, some of these trades. Certainly we've talked about Brooklyn, Atlanta, New Orleans, DeJounte Murray trade bonus. Atlanta pays for that. That gets spread out over 3 years. We've talked about that at length. Let's pull up some of these contracts that we've got here. We don't need to go into all of them. Cody Zeller and Shake Milton, they get the Keith Bogans contract. And I know all about the Keith Bogans contract. When I was in Brooklyn, the infamous Boston trade, we were short $4 million. Enter Keith Bogans, sign and trade. He gets $5 million, basically plays sparingly, and eventually gets waived. Because New Orleans and Atlanta needed the money to work because of the Murray trade bonus and the luxury tax implications, here comes Cody Zeller. $3.5 million, non-bird rights, signing trades, remember, first year guaranteed, years 2 and 3 non-guaranteed. Shake Milton, the same thing, 2.875 first year, non-guaranteed, 2 years, year 2 and 3. A little bit different because I think Shake Milton can help teams. I think Cody Zeller is close to retiring here. So we will we'll keep an eye on that. Probably a waiver wire casualty in Atlanta here. Nick Claxton, 4 for 97. He's got $3 million in bonuses. I thought teams were going to get away from bonuses. That might bite you a little bit here. Certainly the Tatum Supermax, we've talked about it. Derek White. So Derek White's contract, it's 4 for 118, and then there's another $7.8 million in likely bonuses. So basically you do 140% off his base salary, then you do 140% off the bonuses, and then 8% on. If for anyone who's come to Sports Business Classroom next week in Las Vegas, we're going to be teaching that. If not, maybe we'll do a webinar during the course of the year to kind of talk about bonuses here. Can't do it all in this 10-minute video. So that's Derek White. We talked about Claxton, Shake Milton, Patrick Williams, 5 for 90, 18 across the board, player option in the last year. Najee Marshall, 3 for 27, one of my favorite contracts. Trade bonus, 5%. Clay, 3 for 50. No options because it's a sign and trade. You can't have an option year in there. Trade bonus, 15%. We'll talk about that. Kyle Anderson, 3 for 27.7. Last year is non-guaranteed. Buddy Hield, 4 for 38. First 2 years guaranteed. Partial 3 years. I got to see the Hield contract because there's an option in that 4th year, and there's going to be some funky language in there. Aaron Holiday, 2 for 9.5. Team option in the last year. Johnny Furphy, 2nd round pick, 4 for 9. We'll go into that in a minute. Siakam, certainly. Obi, 4 for 58. It's got some bonuses, $2 million. Max Christie, 4 for 32. Certainly we talked about LeBron. Bam extension. People are wondering why Miami re-signed Thomas Bryant. Here's the reason why. He had a player option he signed a 2-year contract last year. He had a player option that's higher than what he would if he became a free agent at the minimum. So basically Miami saved $700,000. The likelihood, and I'm not going to talk for the Heat, is they said go out and shop for an offer. If you can't get anything, come back and we'll sign. So instead of a $2.8 million cap hit, you got a $2.1 million cap hit. Kevin Love, 2 for 8, 3.85 in the first year. OG, 4 for 212.5. Hartenstein starts at 30, declines, team option. Goga, 3 for 25, starts at 9. KCP, 3 for 66, team option. Gary Harris, 2 for 15, team option. Sorry, KCP is a player option. Sorry about that. Jonathan Isaac, I think we might do a video just on Isaac, the renegotiation and extend. Certainly years 2 and 3 are conditional protection. Year 3, years 4 and 5 are conditional protection. Year 3 is a partial. So it comes out to total 5 for 84. 17.4 gets renegotiated up to 25. We will talk about that again, I'm sure. Franz, rookie max, it's a rich contract, 5 for 244. Mo Wagner, it's a good day for the Wagner brothers, 2 for 22. Team option, Paul George, of course. Caleb Martin, I tweeted about that. He basically lost about $27 million by not re-signing with the Heat. It's a story for another day. Royce O'Neal has got some bonuses, 4 for 42, and then he's got bonuses of $2 million. Malik Monk, of course, we've talked about. Valanciunas, 3 for 30. Last year's non-guaranteed. Really, at the end of the day, Philadelphia did a really nice job. We've talked about Tyrese Maxey cap hold to be able to get Paul George, Caleb Martin, Drummond with room. They'll be able to re-sign Maxey, certainly Kelly Oubre with the room exception. Keep an eye on KJ Martin. I could see them signing him to an $8 or $9 million balloon contract. Not too much of a balloon contract. But that is it with contracts. I just kind of wanted to do a quick hitter, just kind of go around the league with contracts and everything that goes with it. There are a ton of teams that are hard capped at the first and second apron. I'll send a tweet about it. But I really just wanted to do a 14-minute, around the league, get through some of these contracts, get through some of these trades, why the Sacramento-Chicago trade happened, talk about LeBron a little bit. We've talked about the apron at length. But that is it for 14 minutes of a video. We probably could do an hour. If you're out in Vegas next week, come by and say hi. We have Sports Business Classroom. We sold out, 138 people. We'll be teaching the salary cap, really in-depth.
Beast inside beats.
Fuck on big drink on the spot. My boy Calvin spot. Big Queens, North fuck. Foreign whips to the big jet. He getting money, it was like how we did that. Running up that bag, niggas mad, big fat. Being in my section, getting big smack. Foreign whips to the big jet. He getting money, it was like how we did that. Running up that bag, niggas mad, big fat. Being in my section, getting big smack. Foreign whip Working all week and he still ain't get his bitch back. We get bread and she dig that. His glass slips for the big packs. Been hitting TD 3 weeks, it ain't clipped yet. Show him how to make a big flex. Bust 100, that's a big snack. It ain't money, I ain't with that. Play with my money, hear that click clack. Nigga, get your shit back. I've been in this for a big while. You a small dog, little child. Show him how we get wild. Stack this money up and let it pile. Me and child in the spot, let it snow. They gon' need a plow. Niggas hate, but they jack style. Fuck impact to the matic, I've been going wild. Shorty wanna eat, nigga had to dig it down. Know I'm from the rock, so I don't play around. Foreign whips to the big jet. He getting money over his life, how he did that. Running up that bag, niggas mad, big facts. Guys being in my section, getting big smack, big that. Foreign whips to the big jet. He getting money over his life, how he did that. Running up that bag, niggas mad, big facts. Guys being in my section, getting big smack, big that.
We gon' fuck up a bag, niggas mad that we flexin'. Diamonds on my neck, so you know we got protection. New wave sound, real niggas get in tune, and we bout to run the views. Yeah, and we only going viral, only throwing high lows. Bad bitches, and they only love to swallow. Me and Puerto Ricans, and we only poppin' bottles. Never fuck with hood bitches, only top models. Yeah, it's that big step of shit, not that broke nigga shit. Niggas talk about money, but they never had shit. You can find me in that black truck, or that new foreign whip. Yeah, it's that big step of shit, not that broke nigga shit. Niggas talk about money, but they never had shit. You can find me in that black truck, or that new foreign whip.
Foreign whips to the big jet. He getting money over his life, how he did that. Running up that bag, niggas mad, big facts. Guys being in my section, getting big smack, big that. Foreign whips to the big jet. He getting money over his life, how he did that. Running up that bag, niggas mad, big facts. Guys being in my section, getting big